standing up and pussies. Okay. Got nothing. I got nothing. As long as you guys are having a good time, that's all that matters. We're having fun?
Yeah.
All right, guys, your featured comic is coming up next. Are you ready for a little bit of a long-form set? You ready for some comedy?
Woo!
Guys, this guy coming up to the stage is such a great writer. He's so funny. You guys are going to love him. Please give it up for Christopher Anthony.
I just want to thank this audience because libraries don't have open mic nights, so it's very rare that we get to tell amazing jokes to such a silent audience. When I walked up, I know a lot of you were thinking, he doesn't look funny. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. A lot of comics will come up here and do what they call self-deprecating humor. You know, oh my God, I'm broke, I'm big, I'm lonely, I'm crying for attention, this is my last day on earth, stuff like that. And I would do more self-deprecating humor, but I don't have any material, you know what I mean? It's hard being perfect, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, whatever, I can do jokes about height, but like those are all really short jokes, so. You guys see what I did there? Cool, thank you. Dad, is that you? Somebody just like a lone applause back there. No, actually, I'm not like a stereotypical comic. I actually really enjoyed junior high and high school. I made a lot of friends. I enjoyed a lot of my childhood despite both of my parents not being around. Is this a support group? No, comedy, bring it back, bring it back. I was actually homecoming king my senior year for my high school audience. Thank you. I was homecoming prince the year before. I was an NCAA All-American. I won't tell you what that acronym means. There's something about a spirit stick. Anyway, I was a cheerleader, guys. I was a cheerleader. Very hard to believe, but it's very true. Paid for school with cheerleading. And yes, more prone to injuries than any other sport out there. If you don't believe me, just watch any cheerleading movie on Netflix. You'll find out real pain real quick. I don't really look like a comic. I don't look very funny. It turns out I have what's called resting bitch face. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. You wear a hat to hide the shadows, but I see what's going on. Anyway, I found out I have resting bitch face, but I found out in a really weird way. Every time I stand by the entrance of a club or a bar, people show me their ID. I don't even fit the description, not that tall, not that intimidating, but I just look like that guy. I know this is true because there's been a few times where I stood outside this venue and people were like, yeah, we have tickets on here, we're 21, there's a bar here, right? I'm like, I'm a comic. They're like, that's a good one. Very funny. Yeah, I mean, what I don't really understand is like, it's all about like appearance. Like I thought it was the beard. I thought the beard was the problem. Maybe that is why I came across so, I don't know, unapproachable. But I only actually have this beard just so I can tell like just a few abortion jokes. But I've had this beard for 3 months now, and I think it's time to get rid of it. That's what I'm saying. It's been too long. All right, you guys, I'm pulling you back in. We're gonna do this. We're trudging through. I tried shaving it. I've done that a few times. Try and be a little bit more agreeable. The kind of guy you might want to say hello to, or maybe trust, I don't know, to hold your dog's leash while you use the bathroom. But apparently that's not me, because when I shave, I still look like a guy who drowns kittens in his free time, but I look like I do it in a rush because I have a job interview that I'm prepping for, is what I look like. I look like that guy. You guys are just gonna remember the whole drowning kittens part. I appreciate that. We're moving through this. I got you guys. I tried smiling. This is me smiling. You guys ready?
Nice.
It's way worse. Thank you. It's way worse. I look like the kind of guy who follows girls, but not on social media. You know what I mean? I just want to know what they're having for lunch and dinner, and I take photos because they don't. You know what I mean? I look like maybe that kind of guy. It's true. And I know a lot of comedians will come up here and they'll say, oh, I hate telling my friends and my coworkers that I'm a comedian because people always be like, well, tell me a joke. Funny thing is, when I tell my coworkers, when I tell my friends I'm a comedian, They never ask me to tell them a joke. They're just like, I totally believe you. Sure, I'm sure people think you're funny. Even now, most of you can't tell if I'm joking or if I'm serious. I do not drown kittens in my free time. I just want to get that over with right now. But a lot of comedians, they'll talk about a show afterwards and they say, man, how'd you do? Like, oh, I killed. Oh, I slayed. I can't say shit like that. I can't say, oh, I walked into a room filled with 27 people and I killed. Because my friends will think that's a confession. Surprisingly, the comedians know this. I very rarely talk about me. I usually talk about people because it's way more fun to talk shit about people, especially in this venue because I have a shortcut. The exit's right there. So no matter what I say, if I don't feel like I can handle all of you at once, I just dip the fuck out. My car is parked directly outside. It's gotten so bad, like the whole confrontation thing. Actually, my whole upper body, I'm not going to strip the whole thing, but my whole upper body is all, thank you. My whole upper body is tattooed because apparently the resting bitch face isn't enough, and if you're going to live in the murder capital, it probably makes sense for you to look like the kind of person that people should run from instead of run to. So this tattoo is actually a $5,700 investment. I overpaid $5,700 investment in not getting my ass kicked. That's really just how it works. Bulletproof vest was about $350, but I figured let's go hard or go home is what I'm talking about. The funny thing is, when I hold a microphone, people don't believe I'm a comic, but then they're like, oh wait, you do one of these things, and they're like, it's way easier to believe that I'm like a musician or like a drummer. The funny thing is, comics won't tell you this, we fucking hate musicians. Cannot stand musicians. I'll tell you a few reasons why. Number one, you can say you're a musician. You could be the drummer. You could be the bassist, lead guitarist. You don't have to say shit, and pennies still drop for you. If you're a comic and you don't say something funny every 30 seconds, like tonight, people just do not give a shit about you. Also, if you just own an instrument, people are like, you must be a musician. But if you're a comedian, you walk around with a notebook scribbled, like, is that a manifesto? Like, what's going on here? They don't believe anything. Same thing with a comic. You tell people you're a comic, they're like, tell me a joke, tell me a joke. When you say you're a musician, they're like, sing me a song now. They never do that. They never do. Also, musicians can get by on like one song, one good hit, and they buy a fucking home in Malibu. Can you imagine one comic tells a joke that takes a minute and a half, and they're like, well, I got this mansion just with this one, and then I did a 3-minute set, and that's how I got this Corvette. Fuck that. Never. That is why we hate musicians. Also, you can be a really shitty musician, and your grandma still cheers for you. I try telling my jokes to my grandma, and she's like, this is why I see you once a year. A musician can live in his grandma's basement. I'm not even welcomed into her living room, is what I'm saying. Yeah, shit gets real. I'm really pissed about musicians. Their lyrics can be total horseshit babble, and girls will still go up and be like, I really felt what you said. Especially that one part in the song where you talk about like burying your neighbors. It's just like, I feel that. I know it was like more poetically like a confession about how distant you feel from people you live near. And the guy's like, no, I fucking hate my neighbors. Like, me too. Do you want, here's my pennies. Do you just want these real quick? Also, you guys ever gone to a concert? Like you pay like $200-$300. They sing like the first 40 seconds of the song, and then they just point the microphone. You go. That's it. That's all they do. I could never be like, don't you hate when your landlord charges you too much? Right. You guys don't, no idea where the fuck I'm going with that. No clue. Finishing up with this. Biggest pet peeve. Biggest pet peeve. Musicians do drugs and they get a fucking 1 hour VH1 behind the music special. Right? Musicians do it and they're like, oh, of course, it must be so difficult dealing with the fame, the popularity, pussy everywhere. A comedian does drugs and they're like, how can you afford that? That's how, like more than weed? Like coke and stuff? Do you even live anywhere? You guys have been great, thank you so much.
Guys, give it up for Christopher Anthony.